Scout the Explorer Mouse and the Invitation at Nightroot Manor. On a night thick with fog and whispers, 5 friends found themselves at the gates of Nightroot Manor, a place that should have stayed forgotten. The fog rolled heavy, the trees held their breath, and before them stood the gates of Nightroot Manor, a house that had been waiting. The gate opened with a groan, and from the mist drifted a parchment sealed with a pumpkin's mark, an invitation meant for them. As the gate closed behind them, lanterns flickered to life, one by one, and the courtyard of the Nightroot Manor seemed to awaken, as if though it had been waiting just for them. The doors groaned shut, and in the silence painted eyes followed their every move. Somewhere in the stillness a clock was ticking, though its hands had not moved in years. Moonlight spilled through the dusty panes, cobwebs trembled from the chandeliers, and the hall itself seemed to breathe. The friends stepped deeper inside, unaware that the house had already chosen its first prize. Ash strode ahead, puffing out his chest, muttering that there was nothing to fear. But the house seemed to breathe around him. A door at the far end of the hall groaned open all on its own. Before anyone could stop him, Ash stepped through, and in an instant the door slammed shut, the sound echoing through the foyer. When the others rushed forward, the door was gone. Only a wall of cold stone remained. The friends huddled close after Ash vanished, fear tightening in their chests. The heavy door slammed shut, and Bristle found himself alone in a cavernous library. Shelves towered endlessly above him, their spines cracked and dusty. A chill whispered through the air, carrying voices that didn't belong. From the shadows, a single tome stirred and rose, pages fluttering like wings. Bristle froze, his whiskers twitching as the book glowed faintly, drifting toward him as though alive. The stocky little brown mouse's breath caught in his throat. His wide eyes reflected the book's eerie glow, torn between dread and the compulsion to reach out. His paws trembled, caught between the urge to run and the daring to discover what secrets it held. Then it came, the faint sound of piano keys, plinking one by one, echoing through the hall. Thistle clung to Bristle's side, her wide eyes darting toward the shadowed corners. A door cracked open to reveal a dust-choked music room lit by moonlight. Before the others could stop her, Thistle's small paws seemed to move on their own, drawn toward the sound. She slipped inside, the door slammed shut, and when Scout rushed forward, only the silence of a wall remained. The friends stumbled deeper into Nightroot Manor, their steps echoing in a long corridor lined with tall, dust-covered mirrors. The air shimmered strangely, as if the reflections weren't quite their own. Bristle scowled and stepped closer, muttering under his breath, and suddenly his reflection moved without him. A ghostly claw of glass reached out, dragging him toward the silver surface. Others cried out, but before they could reach him, the mirror rippled like water, swallowing Bristle whole. The hall grew colder as Scout and Thistle cried out for Bristle. Then a faint green glow spread across the wall, vines twisting to form an archway. From within came a chorus of whispers, gentle but beckoning, like voices calling Willow by name. Her paw tightened around the feather at her side. Drawn forward, almost entranced, she stepped toward the light. The others reached to stop her, but the vines curled shut behind her, leaving nothing but a wall of ivy. The grand hall stood silent, One by one, his friends had vanished, doors closing, echoes fading. Now only Scout remained, his paws trembling on the cold stone floor. The relic on his cart, sitting just beyond the gate, seemed impossibly far away, and the shadows stretched like living things across the walls. Somewhere deeper in the mansion, whispers curled like smoke, beckoning him forward. Scout crept deeper into the manor, the silence broken only by the creak of the floorboards beneath his paws. Then from the walls themselves, shadows began to move, twisting like smoke, eyes glinting faintly within the dark. Voices low and hissing whispered his name, Scout, join us, daring him to falter, yet even as fear gnawed at his chest. Scout gripped the glowing relic tighter, its soft light pushing back the encroaching dark. The crumbling mausoleum loomed in silence, its gates half buried in ivy and moss. Scout crept closer, lantern light trembling against stone as whispers curled through the mist like beckoning voices. Scout pressed forward, ears twitching, eyes narrowing with both fear and determination. The carvings on the stone walls seemed almost alive in the flickering light, twisting into grim faces that watched him as he neared the heavy doors. Scout's wide eyes, reflecting the faint glow of the ruins, etched into the mausoleum door. His paw hovered hesitantly above the cracked handle, breath-catching as the whispers rose to a fevered chorus. The hallway narrowed into silence, lined with portraits whose painted eyes seemed to follow every step. At the far end stood a towering mirror, its surface cracked like a spider's web. Scout crept closer, candle trembling in his paw. At first it was only his reflection staring back, pale and shaken. Then the glass began to ripple. Behind his reflection, faces appeared. Ash pounding on unseen walls, Thistle's mouth moving in a voiceless scream. Willow reaching for him with desperate eyes. Bristle scowling, straining against invisible bonds. Scout staggered back, heart hammering as the whispers returned. Together or never. Scout's heart hammered as the mirror rippled shut, his friends' ghostly faces fading into the glass. For a breathless moment, the thought of fleeing seized him, running into the fog, leaving the nightmare behind. But the relic pulsed warm in his paws, its light steady, reminding him of their bond. He tightened his grip, whiskers stiff, and lifted his chin. He would not abandon them. Whatever the shadows the manor held, he would face them all, not for glory, not for escape, but for his friends. Scout's choice has been made, but the shadows of Nightroot Manor hold secrets yet unseen. What lurks behind the mirror? Where have his friends been taken? The answers wait in the dark halls ahead, and the true nightmare has only begun. But the halls of Nightroot Manor hold more secrets yet. Will Scout find his friends before the house claims them all? Join us next time as the Halloween saga continues. Thanks for dropping by, and thanks for subscribing.